Hey everybody, Happy New Year's. Welcome to the first office hours of 2025. I hope that you had a great holidays and your New Year's off to a good start. Let me know when you can see me and hear me okay. I would appreciate it. Mike, I will absolutely answer that here in a moment. Welcome. Dawson, good to see you, sir. Happy New Year. Welcome. Let me know if we are loud and clear. And if we are, we will get this show on the road. Awesome. Thank you, Dawson. Appreciate it. Looks like all systems are go. So we will get this moving. Again, welcome to Office Hours. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. 2025. That's it's one of those things where these numbers, sometimes the impact of them sneak up on you. And you realize, oh shit, I'm getting old. Time is going by. But all good. Happy with where I'm at. Excited for the future, excited for the year ahead. I hope you are as well. Office hours, if you are not familiar with them, this is pure Q&A, so I don't have an agenda for you. So if you have questions, you can put them into the comments here. You can also join me on camera if you'd like. I'm going to put a little link in right now that will allow you to do that. So if you have a question that is longer, more complex, needs more discussion, you need to share your screen, anything like that, you can use that link. It will put you backstage here on the presentation platform. So I'll see you before the world sees you, and I'll let you know before I make it live. But you can use that if you'd like. Otherwise, you can just type your comments or questions here into the comments, and I will get them there. And also, before we do that, while I'm waiting for some questions to come in there, I'm going to go over to our community and check out any questions happening inside of our online community. If you are not part of our online community, I will put a link in here where you should be able to go join. We are now hosting our community on High Level on their community platform, which has been fantastic. And so I put that link there. You can join us there. We also have our paid community, Moguls. Moguls is if you are a member of High Level through us, then you get free access to Moguls, or there is a paid option to join that community as well. And we are actually just releasing our calendar here in the next couple of days for our calls for the first 6 months of the year. For Moguls, we do private training calls in there. So you are also welcome to join us in there if you'd like. So I'm going to jump in here, though, and answer some questions. Actually, first, real quick, I see some more people over here. Cynthia, is that how you say your name? Very pretty name. Welcome. Alicio, welcome. And James, good to see you, sir. Oh, first time. Awesome. Welcome. Carlos says, since the system, okay, create a system and pay as you go. Okay, awesome. I got a couple questions here in the comments. Let me go ahead and jump into these first. Mike says, can you please recommend a third-party email platform or two that I can use to warm up a list of cold emails before importing active and interested leads into Go High Level? Okay, Mike, so it sounds to me, since this is cold emails, so we're doing cold prospecting. For cold prospecting, you really want to use a specialized email tool for that specifically, because most of the major email marketing platforms, let's say a HubSpot or HubSpot, High Level, any of the other major names out there that you're used to hearing about in terms of CRM and marketing and stuff like that, they are very, very protective of any sort of spam scores, spam, reports that are going to impact the reputation of their overall platform. And therefore, they're going to be very, very cautious about any spam reports that you're getting for your particular account. Okay, because what you're doing in your account can potentially impact their business, right? There is legal repercussions to doing too much cold prospecting, to the point where it becomes spam. And then there's also just reputational impact, though. The major essentially the major telecom infrastructure out there, ESPs, email service providers that are working with the HubSpots of the world to make sure that their email gets delivered. They are keeping an eye on everything. And if they see, hey, HubSpot, you're letting too many of your customers, or high level, you're letting too many of your customers, spam people, then it's going to start impacting their business. So they're very, very protective. So you want to use a email platform that is specifically designed for cold prospecting. One that I always recommend, that has always been great for me, and they continue to develop, just looks really, really promising, some of the new features that they're adding in there, reply.io. So let me share my screen. I can show you reply.io. Gosh, I got to know these guys when they very first started, and that was a good, I don't know, dozen years ago or so, and they've just continued to just be laser focused on this and grow. And I think it's a really, really well designed and effective system. So that's reply.io, and it is pretty darn affordable. Yeah. So, if you're doing just for like a single business, somewhere between $34 and $49 a month, depending on if you're prepaying annually or not. So very affordable service. That's a great one. I'll just go ahead and type that URL in here real quick. Reply.io. And thank you for the ask. I don't have a referral link for these, but thank you for offering that. That's very nice of you. And then there's Lemlist. I'm not even sure if it's lemlist.com. Yeah, lemlist.com. Lemlist.com. Also, I remember these guys getting started. It was awesome because it was like Lemlist was created by somebody who had, like, if I remember correctly, it was like one of those really cool, like, I have no experience and I'm just going to start trying to build some side hustle that makes money. And then it turned into just this explosive growth business. The cool thing about Lemlist is that it lets you do very tailored, like personalized campaigns. So you can see here on this little demonstration thing that they're showing here, they're showing like these little videos pop up and stuff like that. So it will help you like create an automatically customized video for the person that you're sending to, just using some basic, kind of personalization tactics, which of course, with AI starting to get incorporated into all this stuff, I'm sure that the personalization that you're going to be able to do with those videos is actually going to get quite sophisticated here pretty quick. But it helps you make sure that the communication that you're sending out is as tailored to the person as possible. So, I think that it really depends on what you're expecting to do with the platform and how much you want to commit to that personalization, because reply.io will do all the basic personalization that you expect, putting your name in, putting the contact's name in where it should be and things like that. Lemlist takes that a whole step further, but that requires you to put in a little bit more effort to do that versus just sending out a normal text-based email campaign. So up to you to determine. Those are probably my two best recommendations, though, the ones that I'm most familiar with and would feel that you would be in very good hands with. There are all kinds of options out there, and if you just put in reply.io competitors in Google, I'm sure you'll come up with all kinds of options if for some reason you don't think that that's the right one. Okay. Carlos says, since the objective is to create a system and the small business pay as you go, if they stop paying, the system shuts down and this customer loses data. Is this a point against to sell? Well, a couple of things, Carlos. One, I would never, ever recommend that you do anything to damage or delete a customer's data without giving them the right and the opportunity to get that data. That would certainly expose you to lawsuits, and it would just be bad business. So if I create a marketing system for a business and they're paying for that marketing system as they go, and then at some point they decide, hey, we're done, we should have an export capability for at least the critical data that's in that account. So the contacts, things like that. It doesn't mean that you have to export everything for them. And you could have a charge for this as well. You could say, hey, we were providing email campaigns and funnels and things like that. If you want copies of all of those, it's a one-time fee of X dollars. So you've got options on how you do this, but you absolutely want to make sure that there is a way for them to get their data out of the system. That business data is theirs. And it is, again, it would expose you to lawsuits if you did not have a fair way for them to have that opportunity. Okay. Sean, Happy New Year. Good to see you, sir. Darren, welcome. Eric, awesome. Great to see you. Bob, good to see you. Mike, I've reached out to Bob. It looks like the rest of your message got dropped there. So if you could continue that'd be great. Colin, good to see you, sir. What is the market temperature for marketing since there is such an algorithm disruption with AI causing dilution in attention? Wow, that is a fantastic question. I think so. There's no question that we are living in interesting times, and we are about to see, starting to see, I should say, it's already happening, just some incredible changes that are going to happen in the marketplace. Across the board, but yes, in terms of marketing and how we go about marketing, the tools we use, the cost of it, the ways that we get attention, all of that is going to go through pretty dramatic change. So when you say, what is the market temperature for marketing? That's going to vary dramatically by audience. And what I mean by that is that there are always going to be people and businesses that say, well, no matter what the conditions of the world are, we need to be on offense, right? That's a philosophy of mine. It always pays to be on offense, right? So if the world is changing and everybody is trying to figure out how to adapt in this new world, I would rather be being proactive and aggressive with my business to try and determine what's the right way to capitalize on those changes. There's always some way to capitalize on the changes. There's, of course, going to be people and businesses that have a totally different mindset than that believe that, oh, wow, things are changing so fast. We don't know what to do. The future is unclear. So what we're going to do is we're going to hunker down and try and, protect instead of being on offense. They're going to be on defense. That's always going to be the case. I think the great thing is with, high level in particular, you can really make a case for both the offensive and defensive side of that mindset. Because on the offensive side, clearly the far majority of small businesses are not doing everything that they could. And so you can bring them all these capabilities and integration and help them be on offense. At the same time, if there's a business that has more of a defensive mindset, you have incredible cost benefits of being able to deliver these services through high level versus them investing in all of these separate tools and services that they are trying to cobble together. You can very easily paint a picture of ROI based on cost savings for any business that's spending anything on marketing, probably. So I think that you have an opportunity to come at it from both directions. I do also think, though, Alicio, in any market, it's always just so important to really try and determine that mindset of the prospect, because it's very unlikely that you are going to change the mindset of the prospect. And so if you're talking to a prospect that is just not a good fit because their mindset is so, you need to convince me that I should be marketing my business, that's not a good prospect. You should walk away from that prospect quickly and confidently, knowing that it was going to be a dramatic waste of your time if you stuck with them, because it is not your job to fix their mindset, and you probably can't. And they are not going to be a good customer. any customer that is challenging that they should be marketing their business is not, I mean, honestly, just not a smart business person. Every business needs to be marketing their business. They could say, we don't want to do these types of things. They could say, we want to do things with this kind of a budget. Great. That's, so those are all sensible decisions to make. But to be somebody who is just like arguing, should I be marketing my business? That's just the wrong, that's not an opportunity. Okay. George, but I drank too much last night, so I can't see you. Awesome, Doran. Happy New Year. Steven says, offers 100% done for you review management. Client has no need to learn or touch system, which you still package it in all of the Go High Level features. Steven, I wouldn't necessarily package them in as in make that like a central part of my initial pitch. Like if your pitch is done for you review management, then I would pitch what you need to bring to the table to provide that service, because the last thing that you want to do is overwhelm the prospect with a whole bunch of other bells and whistles that they're going to have to try and understand, right? There's that saying, a confused mind doesn't buy. So don't overwhelm them and think that it's going to be attractive to just throw all kinds of stuff at them. Now, that being said, I would still have those features available to the customer, like that they know that they are available. Again, it wouldn't be a part of my initial pitch, but let's just say, 30 days down the road, you're doing a review call with them to make sure everything's going well. You got your service fired up, all that stuff. And you conclude that conversation with, hey, this is fantastic. This is going really well. And also just want to make sure that you know about the other features and capabilities of our complete marketing system. So if there's anything else that you're looking to do, any problems that you're looking to solve with your business, we may be able to help you with those as well, such as XYZ. And so you're doing a little bit of a demonstration of those other capabilities just quickly. It doesn't have to be like a full-on sales pitch. Just having that conversation now so that their eyes are open to, oh, wow, there's other things that we could be doing. And then again, this is something that we always did on our quarterly business reviews with our customers, particularly on our customers that were a little bit higher paying. On a quarterly business review, we'd sit down with them, we'd say, hey, here are all the things that got done over the last quarter. Here's, from our perspective, how the system is performing for you. What are your concerns, questions, that type of thing. And then we would say, well, we see these other opportunities to potentially help you. Your list has been growing by 30 new prospects a month, but we think that we could take that to hundreds of new prospects a month by adding some of these capabilities, right? So it's an opportunity for you to just work in those additional features and capabilities that you have. But again, make that a part of a more secondary pitch, okay? Alicia says, have you worked with nurses in particular, since they're going to be the next marketing unicorns in healthcare, insurance, and longevity? I have not, no, but I do agree there's big opportunities there. If you have Mailgun for email but switch to lead connector, do you still need Mailgun? Should we cancel Mailgun or keep it? You wouldn't need Mailgun. Yep, nobody use Mailgun for cold email through high level, but LC works fine too if you follow best practices. Yep. Yeah. No, you wouldn't need Mailgun in addition. I would, of course, just make sure that you're being very thorough and understanding where we're using lead connector, where we're using Mailgun. Is there anything that you're still using Mailgun for before you go and cancel that? You could also keep it as a backup. If you're not sending mail through it, the charges aren't really going to be anything to worry about. So up to you, but no, you wouldn't need it. Oh yeah. Woodpecker, says Dorn. That's also a good one for cold prospecting. Let's see. We answer that one. Bob says, I reached out to the help desk on this. I signed up for high level using the link on your sales page. I'm unclear on how to access the R4, R6, and the bonuses. Bob, it sounds like we probably did not get credited for your referral, signing up for high level, because if we did, it would trigger in our system and we would automatically send you access to all of the bonuses, and you would see that in your email. So if you do not, and if you have emailed help already, then you should be in good shape, but I will check on it just to take a look. But what we do then is we contact high level, their affiliate managers, and we say, hey, Bob says he signed up through us. Can you check that attribution to make sure that we're getting credit? And then we take it from there. That usually it's pretty darn quick. Their affiliate team is super responsive to us. It's usually 24 to 48 hours type of thing max. So, feel free to email our team again and follow up, but I will take a look at that as well. Okay. Let's see here. Endeavor Video Marketing. I'm new to high level and looking over all your courses. I did find one video that outlines where to start, but it looks like it was from 2023. Is there a roadmap for getting started with your training? I'm assuming you're asking for something that's newer. No, anything newer? No, actually. And so from 2023, I think it depends on where you're at. That could be in the high level fast start program. If you're inside of high leverage agency, which is my core program, which you get access to. If you have purchased high level through us or upgraded your high level through us, you get access to high leverage agency. That's got a roadmap in there that is more current than that. But it's actually part of my to-dos here at the beginning of the year that I'm going to go through and look at some of these key videos and key sequences and stuff like that and do a refresh of them. But those should still be pretty solid roadmaps, no matter where you're looking at, because they're not completely outdated or anything. And my programs are not changing that much that fast. Everything that I'm doing, I try to make as evergreen as possible, both from my business perspective. I don't want to have to create a new thing every 30 days just to keep everybody excited. But also I want to make sure that what I'm sharing with you is something that's going to be good for you for years to come, not just, for a short-term hit. So pretty much everything in my programs is pretty consistent over time. Cynthia says, I'm a total beginner with Go High Level. I've watched all the growth planning bootcamp videos and services at scale. I have some questions regarding to Go High Level plan to get. Yes, absolutely. Let me know and happy to help. And Go High Level is offering a promo. I don't see a referral link taking to those offers. I do absolutely have a referral link to those offers. They, I think, just changed those links because it's in the new year now. So I probably need to send out those new links. I will do that and post those here in the next 24 hours for sure. And thank you for asking. They've had these series of promos around the holidays, and they've changed the links for each promos, which I have notes for them. I have some feedback for them on their approach to doing that. It's definitely making it a little bit of a pain in the neck. But I will get those new links out there. Thank you for the reminder. And if you have any questions about the specific packages, please, you can let me know here, and I'm happy to try and help. Okay. Yes, absolutely. The more attention I get, the better I can tell people to use Go High Level to amplify their personal brand as a nurse. Yes. I mean, one thing, so we have all of these changes that are happening. And look, I think I sent out an email a handful of days ago about how things are changing so rapidly. I put the ARC intelligence curve for AI in that email, showing how the intelligence of AI is just absolutely on a rocket ship. It's pretty, it's wild. And that is going to change everything, across, every industry. How we're doing things is going to change dramatically over the next handful of years, to the point where I think anybody that can tell you that they can tell the future on this stuff, other than maybe a handful of people in the world that are like really closely involved in developing this stuff, I think they're pretty crazy. Like, I can't tell the future. What I believe, though, is that when things are changing that much and that unknown, again, it pays to be on offense. And one of the and to focus on kind of universally true and consistent things, right? One of the things that I loved about watching Jeff Bezos build Amazon, because he would write his annual letters to shareholders, where you could get lots of great insights into his thinking. And one of the core principles of how he built Amazon was that they were just going to relentlessly focus on things that were always going to be true. And so, as an example, he was like, customers will always want the same product for a lower price if they can get it at a lower price. If you give me the opportunity to buy the exact same thing, and one's at a lower price and one's at a higher price, I'll take the lower price. And if you give me the option of getting that thing in my hands faster rather than slower, I'll take faster. Right? So he made those universal things obsessions at Amazon. And the great thing about focusing on those universal things is it doesn't matter how technology changes. It doesn't matter what's the latest, greatest thing. The question is, does it help me get it into the customer's hands faster? Does it help me get it into the customer's hands at a lower cost? Then if the answer is yes, great, we go down that path. If not, then we don't need to worry about it. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing, like what you're saying with more attention. And this goes back to your question about marketing when all these changes are happening. Like, has there ever been a time in history where it doesn't make sense for your business to have more attention than less attention? No, right? The more attention, the more people who know your brand, the more people who know your business, the better business is going to be. And when it comes to personal brands, since you mentioned that, I do think that personal brands now are proven to be one of the most powerful business opportunities. And on a percentage basis, there's still not that many people that are really capitalizing on it, me included. But it is proven that if you have a personal brand, which means you have to be visible, you have to get attention, which a lot of people are not really comfortable with that. But if you're thinking of yourself as a business and that personal brand as a business opportunity, then yes, it absolutely makes sense to build that presence and build that attention as big as you can, because yes, it absolutely does create opportunities for sure. Okay. AT, good to see you, sir. Happy New Year. I'm giving a presentation next week on how to use AI in business. What do you suggest to position myself to generate leads without selling from the front of the room? I would just have a very simple offer, AT, something that is like a lead magnet, effectively. So not anything where you're asking for any money, but just like a lead magnet. So when you're up there giving the presentation, you can say, I've got some free resources for anybody who's interested in learning more on this topic. You can go here and just opt in and I'll send those to you. So, just keeping it that simple. And you could start the presentation with a mention of that. You could end the presentation with a mention of that. And that's probably enough. You'll probably get a really good amount of leads just by doing that. What exactly that lead magnet is, I would tailor that to the audience as much as possible. But it doesn't have to be anything overly sophisticated. The things that make great lead magnets are usually just very simple, little basic tools or cheat sheets or checklists, things like that really make fantastic lead magnets. So you just, come up with something that's relatively simple. Can you pause? Oh yeah, you can pause sub accounts for non-payment without deleting it. Exactly. Yep. So that one. With all this, our business, I'll say how our business is going to hide under a rock. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting times. That's for sure. All right, Jason De Los Santos, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Happy
Mike.
New Year.
How you been? Happy New
I've
Year.
been great.
Hope you're doing well.
You?
Yeah, doing really
Good.
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 Since we saw each other, was it October, September,
Summit.
over
Yeah.
in Dallas? I just obviously continued to play around with stuff, and so I started Facebook ads. So I watched
Nice.
one of your courses. I forget what it's called, the one where you go through, it's sort of like over the shoulder type of
Attention
thing.
engine.
Um, Attention engine, and super helpful to get me started.
Awesome.
So I'll give you a quick update and then have a question. Like, this is just killing me. So I created one campaign, and then within it is just two ads, sort of with the same intention. And so what I'm trying to sell is just like a really simple, like, let's just get you on the web. So typically it's for home service companies that, like, they're doing their thing, but like they're just not present online,
Mm,
or on Google Business. And
love
so
it.
the thing that I'm offering is sort of like a 3-tier thing. It's like, we'll get your website, Google Business, either created or optimized, and then CRM, sort of like contain this whole digital thing for your
Hmm.
business. And so the ad is just a super simple text ad, like really ugly, but it's connecting. So I have, let's see, almost like, I think it's like almost 80 leads, but
Nice.
I'm having trouble converting,
Mm,
right? And they're coming in super cheap. It's like less than $2 each. And the goal is to drive them to Messenger. So like it asks a couple of questions, like your name, email. So like I'm capturing all their information,
mhm.
and then that gives me an opportunity to message them. And some respond, some don't. I'm trying lately to just get on a call and call them right away, just to see if I can kind of engage. But just mentioning all that just to see, kind of your thoughts on next steps, because it seems like it's connecting in that it's something that they need, right? Just sort of at a high level. But there's something that's preventing them from moving forward. And like, I haven't spoken with enough to like really understand whether it's a pricing thing or maybe just the type of offer. So like, I'm not really sure where to take it
What's
from
the price
here.
point?
So it's the lowest package is 175 a month.
And these are home services businesses.
Hmm.
I think the problem is the home services businesses probably more than your offer or your pricing. I mean, the fact that you're getting that many
Hmm.
leads and they're responding to it, and I'm assuming that the percentages on the ads are and opt-in rate are good. Like this
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think it's the home services businesses. And what I mean
Okay.
by that is I think you already know this from working with them, is that they can just be notorious about not picking up their phones, not responding to messages,
Yeah.
things like that. I mean, it kills me. My lady, has an amazing home, and she's spent a really good amount of money completely remodeling the home. I mean, it's gorgeous, and she's got this crew of various contractors, and she's like, I literally can't get a call back to get work done.
Yeah.
And these are
Right.
and these are people that she's already spent a lot of money with, and it's like
Hmm.
they're just so bad. And it was funny. I was going to use this as a marketing opportunity. I was listening to one of the San Diego radio stations here recently, and one of the DJs on the radio, she went into this, she launched into this rant about how her and her husband have been trying to hire a gardener, and that
Hmm.
she literally like has called every gardener, responds to every ad,
Wow.
and she's like, I cannot get a gardener to call me back. And she's like, I have all the money
Mhm.
I'm ready to spend. I've been trying to be a customer of a gardener for months. And she said she literally was sitting at an intersection recently, and she pulled up next to a truck that was like, Jimmy the gardener, call me, right
Mhm.
now, had his number and everything right there. So she was like, yes. So she literally picks up her phone right there on the spot. And she said their windows were down. So like she could like literally yell at the guy. And so she called him, and the guy, she sees him like look at the phone and then just ignore the call. And
Just
she's
didn't pick
like,
up, that's
what
crazy.
the? She's like, starts screaming at him through the window, like, pick up your damn phone. And he's looking at her like she's crazy, and finally drives off. And she's like, how, what
Right.
is going on here? Um,
Yeah.
I think people in that industry are so busy. One, but it's
Mhm.
not necessarily good busy. They know they're not making as much money as they should and all that, but they're in that scramble mode all the time, and they're so many of them are so anti-technology that
Yeah.
they are just really bad at just the basics of communication, getting back to people in a timely manner, managing their time, managing their to-do list, stuff like that.
Mhm.
That I think it's funny because I have long considered just getting into a home services business myself, because I think it's such a big, simple opportunity to just kill it. Um, and I really do think like it's just a challenge of the industry. So my point is, of course, you want to review your ad, review your messaging. When you get a hold of some people, get some feedback, all that good stuff. But you've also been in this space for some time, like you know the market pretty well. I think it's honestly just a matter of just like persistently and creatively just like bombarding them with follow up. And
Mhm.
it's I think it's just is what it is in that market. Um,
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I I always think in that market, like I would do if you can, I would do some sort of direct mail as part of that. I just think it's for a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them, it's most likely to actually be seen and responded to if you can get something in their hands. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's really honestly, other than just ridiculous persistence, I don't know that I have any other real good recommendation for you.
Okay. All right. Because one of the things I was thinking about, my next theory was, well, maybe there's not enough trust because obviously they just found out about me, and just trying to fill kind of those trust buckets of possibly some sort of a like a simple intro video, like, hey, here's who I am, here's what I do, that type of thing. That maybe something that's along the lines of like how to get your business on the web. Like obviously, they're not going to do that, but just to sort of get them to be like, okay, like that's how it's done. Um,
So
and then also I was thinking about oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say for sure if you're not so if you go back to the good old R4 sales sequence, right? After somebody opts in, you got that
Mhm,
first position relationship builder video. Ideally. So
mhm,
if after they're responding to that ad, yes, I mean if you could take them right away to a page where you say, "Hey, thanks for, getting in touch. This is Jason. I'm the owner, blah blah. Here's what we do. Here's what we've done it for. Here's some testimonials you can see down below. I'm going to make this so damn easy for you. I know you're crazy busy. I understand your market. I understand though that you are missing on opportunities because you're probably so busy that you're not taking advantage of these things. So let me make it super easy for you. Here's the next step. Yes, absolutely. You should be doing all of that. And then that video for sure could be something that you're sending out in your prospecting messages for anybody that's not following up.
mhm,
So yeah, a hundred
mhm.
percent be doing all of those blocking and tackling things in this process for sure.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'll try a few of those because like I don't know. I know that there's like it's hitting, right? Like I'm getting so many leads. It's ridiculous by just that
Mhm.
conversion. And this week I've called more people, and I feel like maybe that might be something to because the people that I'm talking with not tech savvy whatsoever, like what you were talking about. Like they barely like I had a 5-minute conversation trying to get somebody's email the other day.
Yeah.
Where she couldn't even figure that out. So it is a little bit challenging in that. And so maybe
Yeah.
it's something where um, maybe a two-parter, like just having that sort of the video, it's like something super easy because I have a landing page, but I wonder if maybe it's too much. So maybe a video where they can just observe, right, and just process it that way. And the other thing I was thinking about was some sort of a either I don't know, like a PDF or just something where people feel like if they want to print it because it feels like I'm talking to folks that are a little bit older, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes maybe they need something tactile to just like grab and consume as opposed to on their tiny phones.
How are you following up with them right now? I mean, you said that you're doing some phone calls, but was it just email before?
Yeah.
I would do
So
every
before there was a simple text message, just like, "Hey, thank
okay.
you," and then the phone calls. I haven't done emails yet. Well, actually, I did my first email last week, just as a general, like part of the newsletter that I send out on a weekly basis, just to like sort of like nurture long term.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I do is like once I see them, I'll just send them a quick message like, "Hey, are you available? Can we chat?" And so I doing a bunch of things like nothing has worked just yet.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I would definitely just be coming at them from all angles because, like you said, some of these people, who knows if they check their email, once every 2 weeks. I mean,
Right.
whatever. I think text is a must, and I think
Hmm.
I would try just like very conversational, just quick conversational strategies about that. Hey, it's Jason following
Hmm.
up. Because you said you wanted this. You have a minute to talk. Like I mean, just very basic conversational text like that to try and get some action.
Right.
Um, and then, yeah, direct mail if you can, calling for sure. I mean,
Hmm.
absolutely. I'd be bombarding them with phone calls if you have that
Yeah.
ability. And then, I would just say in your messaging, like I would definitely directly address those things that you were just talking about in your messaging. So I could envision a series of just quick little videos from you where you're just like very
Hmm.
directly going, "Hey, it's Jason. I work with home services businesses just like yours. I know that you're super busy, and I know that this technology stuff is pretty intimidating. That's why people choose to work with me. I'm going to make this so simple for you,
Hmm.
and get you up and running so you can really start taking advantage of these opportunities. Here's what to do next." Like really like
Mhm.
really hitting that message. And I'm sure there's others, but like just really making sure that you're addressing those things very directly. That
Okay.
whole
Uh,
speak to the message in their mind type of thing. And I'm sure that's what so many of
mhm.
them are sitting around thinking like, oh, it's technology bullshit, man. I don't even understand this stuff. It's too
Right.
complicated. So use all of those words right back at them.
Okay. And my last question with that is, so there've been a couple of folks that I've spoken with, and their question is, well, like, when does this start working, right? Sort of like they expect something to start right away, and so you've talked about this in the past. Is like if somebody's just concerned about with this type of service for results right away, well, like maybe it might not be the right person if like they're just focused on like just price, and so I'll make mention of that and just say like if you're really desperate, this is probably not the right service. Right? Like if you have some more patience, right? Like I think this is a good service. And then I try to talk to them about like the difference between 0 or 1 in the sense of advertising. Like everybody's searching online, so either you can't be found or you have the opportunity to be found, right? Like that's kind of how I'm going about it. Like, do you have any other angles, or does that seem to make
I
sense
mean,
to you when
is
somebody's
there
asking
anything
about like
about your
a
service
quick?
that yeah, is there anything about your service that you can deliver like a quick win? Review
In the sense of
capture.
the fulfillment of it, right? Of like delivering the Google business profile, for example.
Yeah.
So, but not necessarily in getting them a customer, just because we're just kind of waiting on organic stuff and for the reviews to start coming in.
I mean, I would still answer the question in as positive of a frame as I can. So
Mhm.
I would answer the question with, hey, we're going to do these things in the first 30 days of working together and try and have a long
Mhm.
notice. We're going to make sure that we've optimized this, we've corrected the information here. You're going to have a new website that's mobile optimized, that has lead capture, that has a web chat widget, that has call tracking, all these things you're missing right now. We're going to get all of this done for you in the first 30 days. So you're going to start seeing an impact from that, quickly, right? I
Mhm.
think then I would finish that with now, of course, results are always going to vary depending on exactly what your services are, your competition, and how good of a job you're doing then with responding to these new opportunities on your side. Those are things
Mhm.
that are largely out of our control. I would have that 1, 2, but I would still try and
Yeah.
answer in the affirmative as much as you can in that initial
Okay.
response with, here are the things that we're going to get done. That's a different answer than here's what you're going to get out of it, but it's still a
Mhm.
good positive, like, hey, we're going to take action on your behalf right away.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, Mike. Well, I'm gonna keep digging in here and just iterating until I figure it out.
Awesome. And then I would just say on the reviews thing, like, I'm sure you've watched my interview with Clay, right, from Review Harvest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's anything that you can do, the initial blast to capture reviews, I mean, things like that to their list. If there's anything like that that you can bake into that initial service to try and kickstart things, obviously, I
Mhm.
would I would look into making sure that that's a part of what you do. I mean, he's doing that initial outreach to their existing customers and saying, "Hey, we'd love to get a review," essentially, and by doing
Mhm.
that, because they've never done that before, he's getting
Mhm.
them their first X reviews very quickly. So,
Yeah, I was thinking about that because it seems like he was doing really well at filtering those customers and just like basically working with people that had some sort of technology like Java or something like that. The people that I've spoken with so far don't seem to have that for the most part. So I was wondering if creating this is kind of putting the work on the customer, but creating some sort of like, hey, let's go back to your other old customers. Here's a template or here's a link or like just how to make it easier for them to collect it because so far I haven't seen anybody that's collecting their customers' information electronically that I can then use to like send a blast. You know what I mean?
mm, yeah, that's tough. Um, yeah, so these are like old school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do most of these businesses have like a website?
Like 99% of them do not. It seems like
Wow.
most of them are like, "Oh, I've been in business for 3 to 5 years. I've done this thing, word of mouth, and now for whatever reason, like they decide that it's time to do marketing, and
Is
they're
that part
they're
of your
they're trying to get
service?
serious about it."
Is that part of your service to
What's
give them
that?
a website?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would make that a core part of my pitch. And if you're having a conversation with somebody that just doesn't have any list or anything like that you can communicate with, my conversation would
Mhm.
be, hey, Jason, look, just to be very direct, so far you are not capturing data like this for us to be able to work with to get you faster results. If you had an email list and things like that of your existing customers, we could start getting you, results immediately by reaching out to them, and we would.
Yeah.
But with
Mhm.
you, I mean, we've got to acknowledge that we're starting, from an earlier position. And so what we've got to do is we've got to make it a top priority to start building your list by having a presence online and by having these basic, collection mechanisms to start doing that. So that's the very first thing
Right.
that we're going to get going for you. You're going to have a professional website. It's going to be built with these lead capture and list building, mechanisms right built into it. So we're going to get you started. I would have that conversation because I don't want to work with a prospect that's got totally unrealistic expectations. So hopefully,
Right.
when you have that conversation with them, they go, "Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's exactly why we responded to your ad. We need to get this going." You know,
Right.
because you're doing everything you possibly can for them at that point.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, Mike. That's super helpful. You're a rock star. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, sir. It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
All right, we'll talk soon. Let's see here. Darren says, question, it seems the 5,000-foot view of Go High Level is that it is using technology, widgets, AI, et cetera, to engage leads and follow up with them through automations. Too simplified thoughts? Darren, I mean, I think that is, I mean, you've certainly captured some of the very core capabilities of High Level, but it is much more robust and sophisticated than just that as well. I mean, like if we just go over to High Level real quick and we hold on one second, let me get out of some things. And we go to share that screen. If we take a look at what all is in High Level at this point, uh, it's incredibly robust. I mean, it's meant to be the single killer app for small businesses to be able to do just about everything that they possibly need to run their business, certainly from a marketing perspective, but I would say marketing, transactions, communication, and those words, transaction, communication, those are big words, right? There's all kinds of ways that you can do transactions, by e-commerce stores, by invoicing, by click to pay links. And then communication is everything from email marketing, SMS marketing, phone system, right? That those continue to expand. And so when you look on the left hand side here, you've got marketing, automation, memberships, media, reputation. And then you look on the top, and where this is just in the sites category, you got funnels, websites, stores, webinars, blogs, WordPress, forums, surveys, quizzes. So you've got so much capability in this system at this point, and it is not slowing down. I mean, they have such incredibly ambitious plans for the things that they're baking in there. Um, so I do not think that is it's not bad to simplify things at all when it comes to how you're communicating to your market. So if the communication to your market is, hey, what we do is we help you attract and engage more leads and follow up with them effectively and with automation to turn them into customers, that's a great message. Absolutely, because it's nice and simple, it's clear, the business can understand the benefit of it. So if that's the approach that you want to take to the market, I think that's great. I also, though, I'm assuming that you're an agency, and so I'm just making sure I'm answering the question that I think that you need to know, which is that you have a lot more that you can do with it for your small business customers if you choose to. Our first client is my boss. That's awesome. I sold the idea of using Go High Level CRM and AI employee answering calls. We are a real estate company. How reliable are those services? Super reliable. Um, I have been using High Level since they started. Um, and I mean, in terms of total total downtime, I don't know. Like if I just think about in the last 3 years or so, because I've been using them longer than that, but in the last 3 years, when I would consider, okay, they're like a robust platform and like we're really using them all day, every day. I've had maybe an hour total of time where I didn't use the system because I felt like there was something going on or something buggy. And honestly, I don't even know like if it was my browser was being funny because sometimes, your browser gets bogged down, especially if you know me. I have currently, I don't know, 60 tabs open. So is that High Level's fault? Is that my fault? I don't know, but I'm trying to think, and maybe somebody else on this call knows the last time that High Level actually had like any significant, like, hey, our service is out because whatever, and give us, 20 minutes to fix stuff and get it back up and running. I have no idea the last time anything like that has happened, but it's super infrequent. They have made a massive investment in infrastructure. It's global. Um, I would not worry about it at all. I mean, at all. Of course, you should make sure that you're thinking about how does our business run if any system that we're relying on is unavailable, right? But I think it's the same risk that you would have if you were going with any major SaaS software platform, right? They're all using these massive data centers around the world. They all have incredible redundancy. Can Amazon have problems or Google have problems that then impact the availability of those services? Yes. Um, is that very common? No. So, Dorn says, what about doing a DBR for quick wins? Yeah, Dorn, I mean, I think doing a database reactivation to gather reviews is a great opportunity. But it sounds like these businesses that Jason was working with don't have any lists at all. Like they haven't been collecting information at all. So, but generally, yes, I think that's a great idea. All right, there's no more questions in the comments right now. I'm going to hop over to the community real quick. Shelly says, we're working with a new coffee shop and doing their website and setting up a customer management system with High Level services. This is our first customer with High Level. So we are new to set everything up, wondering the best options for easy online ordering system and snapshot to use. Any package suggestions would be awesome. Also, they're looking for a price range of $97 to $297 a month. Okay. Shelly Ray. It's a good question. It's a lot to try and cover in a call here because there's so much that you could theoretically do with this customer and with High Level. But if you're trying to keep it simple, which I think is important with like a coffee shop, we want to keep it simple. I think there's a handful of things that for like a coffee shop would be really, really beneficial for them. One, it's building up their email and SMS list. So that could be by having a simple loyalty program. It could be by doing a birthday promotion program, which I love, birthday campaigns. So for a coffee shop, it's very common. You go into the coffee shop and say, see a thing that says, hey, let us know your birthday. And each year on your birthday, we're going to send you a special gift. So you can have them opt in to get that. Again, you could have opt in for some sort of loyalty program. Boomerang is a fantastic platform that I'm a big fan of that does loyalty programs and that integrates with High Level. So you can look at that. Basic online presence. So making sure that they have a website, that it is optimized, obviously for mobile would be very important. Making sure that their information is all up to date, all their citation information, everything is up to date. So the search engines are finding them and reporting them effectively would be really good. I mean, honestly, if that was all you did for them, it would be a fantastic service. I mean, like the number of businesses that contact me proactively and say, "Hey, Mike, we have a special offer for you at the coffee shop this week. Come on in." I mean, I get like none of those, and I go out to eat every, I mean, who knows how many times a week. I only have a handful of businesses here in San Diego that contact me regularly with any sort of communication, any sort of offer. So if all you were doing was helping the coffee shop develop their list and then reach out to that list once a week, once every couple of weeks, that type of thing, it would be a fantastic service. And then, like I said, optimizing their presence. You could give them a new website or just do the Google, citations, like that type of thing, or just those basic things. But you could add in review capture for sure. That'd be a good one for a coffee shop. I I mean, you can absolutely set up a whole e-commerce thing for them very simply now in high level. So if they don't have any transaction capability and you want to give them some transaction capability where somebody could come in and, order a coffee through high level, I mean, you could do that. I don't think you need to get that sophisticated with a coffee shop, given most of them already have some sort of point of sale system. But doing all of that for between 97 and 297 a month is very easy. So I hope that helps you. Again, to get into like the specifics of how to package that and stuff, I would refer to my high leverage agency program, so that you can get into more details of how I would recommend doing that. Okay, let's see. Oh, Cynthia, there you are. I see you inside the community. Awesome. Looking to shortcut the client onboarding process. There's so much info to go through, a literal wealth of knowledge. Can anyone point me to an onboarding snapshot or Google Doc that I can send new clients to ask them for the needed info and login? Okay. So Marcus, I see some people responded to you. I really recommend that you just create something on your own for that, Marcus, that is tailored to your services and tailored to the businesses that you're working with. It shouldn't take very long at all for you to sit down and crank something like that out. But if you were looking like for the place to start in doing that, then what I would do is I would recommend that you just look at the basic information that's necessary when you're setting up a new account, right? You're going to have this information that you're going to need to collect to help create this new account. So I would go through this and just make sure that you're getting the information that you need to be able to do that. And then the rest of the information that you're going to get should be tailored to what do you need to get your specific services going. And that's why the onboarding thing is really, it's different across every agency, because some of you are focused on reviews, some of you are focused on launching a website, some of you are focused on both, so tailor that to what you need specifically for your services. And then what I would say is, don't think that you need to get everything day one. Like, get the information that you need to get going and make progress and get their account, activated. But there's going to be most likely some additional information that you're going to want to collect from them after that first step. So the last thing that you want to do is like give a customer some, 15-page survey they have to get going to get started, right? If you were to look at that 15-page survey, there's probably 1 page of that you need to actually get their account going. Then you have a second call with them or something like that, where you say, hey, now we're going to get the information that we need to, really get the website built or whatever it is. So make it as lean as possible upfront so you don't overwhelm them and bog down the process. But it needs to be tailored to what your services are. Okay. Is it possible to have a breach of data by using these systems, CRM, real estate, are worried about that? I mean, anything is possible, but high level absolutely has the same security measures in place that, again, any other major SaaS platform that you're going to work with has. So I don't think there's any reason to be more concerned about that with high level than there is with other types of platforms. Okay. Dawson, my man, you want to join us?
Hello, Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too, sir. How you doing?
Good, how about you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. What's up? Give us the update.
So, I had late in December, I was at a networking event, and since I do photography, mostly retail, there was somebody who wanted me to do a photo shoot for them. Um, I have to follow up with them in the next few days because they wanted me to follow up in the new year. And so we just have to pick a time and go to the Entrepreneurship Center. They're going to give us an orientation of how to use the photo studio. And then I'm going to take some pictures for her business and hopefully get some money.
Nice. That's awesome.
So one
That's
of
a
the
good way to
entrepreneurs,
start the year. Getting money is a good way to start.
yeah, so one of the entrepreneurs in there, Jim, he's going to help me out. He has his office, and he also has the photo shop suite on his computer. So he's going to let me use his computer so that I can do some editing as well.
Good. Awesome, man.
And so that's a way for me to kind of have a little, maybe a little space to work, but just to have that resource. And it's important to not just have resources, but to be resourceful. So that's what I learned this year.
Awesome. I love that. That's great. Yeah. You have any big goals for the new year you want to share?
Well, I guess personally, my New Year's is to eat 2,200 calories a day.
Nice.
To have a 10% calorie surplus, so I can
Nice.
have the energy to continue working.
That's
I
cool.
guess for business is just to get some revenue coming in so I can reinvest it. Um, and well, just decluttering, I guess. I'm just gonna say just to get some revenue rolling in. Yeah.
Good. Awesome, man. Good, good. Any questions? Anything we can do to help?
Yep. The question was, what is the craziest pitch you've ever heard?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I would say so. The only thing that comes to mind, just having that question kind of thrown at me cold like that, is when I was in business school. You do these business plan competitions where
Mhm.
startups would present to try and raise money, and there was this guy who, and I actually think, hold on, let me just do a quick search here so I don't
Yeah.
cause any problems. Yeah, okay. So there's this guy in my business school class who was this young guy, single, not married, no kids, no nothing, and he was launching my breast friend breastfeeding pillows.
Mm.
And it just so I did a quick search because I think he actually was successful. He got it to market and I think ended up doing very well with it. Because I mean it's a good product. It's a
It did,
necessary
yeah.
product as somebody who at the time I was married and I was having my first kids and like so I was like, yeah, it's a great product. But the only reason why I say that it felt like the craziest pitch is it felt very incongruent to have this young single guy with no kids up there pitching about my breast friend breastfeeding pillows. Like it
Mhm.
just felt like this should be somebody else giving this pitch so that there was some logical and emotional connection between the person doing the pitching and the customer and the product.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, technically, that's not true. That was my emotional response to it, but it felt that way to me, and it felt weird. But obviously, like I said, he clearly did something, and got it out there in the market, which is fantastic.
That's great. Yeah, it must be in demand too as well.
Totally.
Niche market, but it has that connection. Yeah, because like in in a community, you're going to hear all these different pitches. You're going to meet different people, and you're going to hear these things. And I think it's just good to have some humor, I guess, to have something different that happens that you can just kind of keep going and
and
change it up.
and an open mind, right? I think, yes, I think sense of humor, being kind of lighthearted about it, and an open mind. I was actually listening to an interview with Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn, and he's one of the most successful entrepreneurs and investors in Silicon Valley history. I mean, just very, very, very successful and very smart. And to hear him, it was actually interesting to hear how he evaluates pitches. So if he hears an entrepreneur's pitch, he said what he wants to hear is that everybody thinks that the entrepreneur is crazy, because and keep in mind, this is a guy who is investing in businesses that he hopes are going to be the next $500 billion businesses. He's not investing in businesses that he hopes, hey, you're going to make a nice living, Dawson. Like, he's not investing in those kinds of businesses. So he needs something that's going to be a crazy breakthrough. And so the reason why he's listening for something crazy is because, and it's very rational when you hear him talk about it. He said, if you give this pitch and it sounds just logical, he's like, okay, if it sounds that logical, then there's clearly somebody in the market that's already doing it, that is probably already many steps ahead of you, has a competitive advantage. They're, already in the market, whatever, because it's so logical. You can't be the only person that sees it, right? And then if it sounds crazy to normal, rational people, he was like, that's actually what I want to hear, what I'm looking for. Because if normal, rational, smart people look at it and go, that's nuts, he's like, it's actually a sign to him that the person that is giving me this pitch might have some sort of insight that the rest of the market hasn't caught on to yet, and so that they can have a head start. And he talks about how having a head start in an opportunity that you're looking for explosive growth is so important, because it's less competition for a period of time. And, the competition in those markets is so intense. So yes, there's still this huge risk that the person actually is crazy, or that, the idea is terrible. He said, but that's why as an investor, we have portfolios. We invest in lots of things that turns out they are batshit crazy and they don't work out. But a small percentage of them do work out, and they make such huge returns that it covers up all of the losses on all of the ones that turned out to be crazy. So I think having an open mind and, considering that here's Reid Hoffman, one of the smartest, most successful guys in our lifetime, telling you that what you should be looking for is the crazy, So, it's a different perspective. I think it's important to try and keep.
And with that being said, when I talk to VCs, usually around the 200,000 to 500,000 level, they say they look for that intuition piece. They look for, obviously they balance the story of the entrepreneur and the numbers, the understanding of numbers. So this is one example I had this morning. I was like, what if we take all the electric eels and harness their electricity, because hydro is so expensive, and we could use that for electricity, and then we don't have to pay for it anymore.
Yeah.
Just
but dude, I mean, it sounds batshit crazy to me.
Yeah.
But then if you have something to back it up. So I think what's fascinating right now, if you do a little search, you will find some recent interviews with Jeff Bezos, where Jeff Bezos, similar to Elon Musk, I don't know if you know, he's building a space exploration company.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is. So he's got a company, I guess, all the way back to college. He was saying that his ultimate goal was to build a space company, and that whatever he built first, which turned out to be Amazon, would be the thing that he would make money with so that he could then pay for the space company. So he already had this vision that he was going to be an uber successful entrepreneur business person, get filthy rich, and then use that money to invest in this space exploration company, because he knew that that was such a crazy idea and would be so expensive that he would have to have endless amounts of money to fund it. But what's fascinating is listening to this interview, though, the person interviewing him was like, so what, is this just some billionaire's hobby? Like, you're one of the richest people ever in history, and so you're just doing this because it's fun to you? And he said, no. He said, I actually expect that this will be the highest ROI thing I will do, far beyond Amazon. And so the interviewer was like, really? Like, you expect that your space business is going to be higher ROI than Amazon? Yes. Why? And so when you hear him then go through, I mean, Jeff Bezos is an incredibly smart man.
Yeah.
When you hear him go through the numbers and the logic behind this business, here's his, I'll do my best to sum up his logic, because when you hear it, it sounds batshit crazy. And then you hear him start getting into the numbers and you're like, oh, wow, he actually knows what he's talking about. So he believes that the only way to save the planet, which will be an absolute, he believes will be an absolute imperative for all of us, that we have to invest in saving the planet, no matter what you think about climate and yada, yada. Like, it's just, it's a necessity. So he believes that in order to do that, you have to get all of the heavy manufacturing off of the planet. So all of the plants that we do to produce the cars and produce the steel and all that, he's like, all of that has to come off of the planet because it produces so much pollution. And so where's the logical place to do that? It's in space. And so he knows all of the numbers around what we have to do to get manufacturing built on the moon and Mars, so that we can move all of this heavy manufacturing to those places, so that pollution is kept out in space and not in our atmosphere. And when you hear him talk about it, it's super logical. It's literally just like, no, we just have to get our rockets down to this cost per launch and be able to take this much in payload. And then once we do that, we can build the manufacturing on the moon, and the actual availability of resources in space, like the minerals we need and all that type of stuff, is infinite, essentially. So we'll be able to mine those resources out of space and use them in the manufacturing process at a cost that's actually dramatically cheaper than what we do on planet Earth. And so it's going to produce infinite ROI once we get to that. And you're just like, okay. But I mean, he literally has all the physics and math and everything very thought through, to the point where he's investing billions and billions and billions of dollars to build the infrastructure to do this. So batshit crazy, and yet backed up with logic and math and financial possibility, that you then go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now you still have to execute it, and executing all that obviously is ridiculously challenging.
Prototyping, yeah.
Yeah, and just, I mean, think of all the things that have to go right to send a rocket ship into space, bring it back, load it up with the payloads, have that all go well. Like, you have to build robots that can then build the manufacturing facilities on Mars, because it's not going to be human beings that do that first. It's going to be robots. So that all has to get developed. I mean, it's insane, all the things that have to go right. But that's why people like him and Elon Musk and stuff are the richest people on the planet, because they're actually taking on those challenges.
And solving problems too.
And solving problems. Yeah. And solving practical problems along the way. Like, if you haven't looked at Elon Musk, he publishes his grand plan, and you should look at it. The simplicity of his grand plan is so effing beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's like, it finishes with we have to move humanity to Mars. And it starts with, in order to do that, I have to build an affordable enough electric car. And then he's got like this 11 steps that it takes you from affordable electric car to colonizing Mars. And he's got it all thought through in his mind. I have to do this first, then this, then this, then this, and this, and then we're colonizing Mars. Right? So the execution and the practical products that he has to bring to market along the way to make sure that he can fund this whole thing, it's incredible and it's brilliant and it's working, which is just wild to see. So
It sure is.
thank you for letting me go on my entrepreneurial rant, because I love all this stuff. It's not necessarily directly correlated to these calls, but it's fun to do.
Oh, no need to thank me. I like when you get on the soapbox there. Just listening helps so much, and even for me too, because I've been in the office more and I've been getting things going more. So I definitely appreciate that, and I'm gonna go to the office today and follow
Awesome,
up
man.
with that client and bring in some revenue.
Awesome, man. I love it. I love it. Well, congrats. Good luck, and happy New Year. And let's get off to a fast start.
Thank you, and happy New Year as well. Have a great day.
Awesome, man. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon, Dawson.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome. Let's see here. A couple other questions here. Austin says, data breach can be covered by cyber insurance. Get with local agent. I sell it. Yes, but please be very, very careful that you never, ever, ever, ever want to get to the place where you're actually having to use that, because it's a giant, expensive pain in the ass to get to the point where you're ever having to resolve, well, who lost the data? Who is responsible for the data? What was the data? How much is it worth? Is that actually covered in your insurance policy? Because there's all kinds of carve outs. So instead, make sure that you're doing everything that you can to make sure that that is never an issue. And this is a great place to start. Are there good places to get terms and privacy policies for an agency so that we are covered legally? Yes. So there's actually a gentleman in the high-level community who is a lawyer who actually sells terms and privacy policies for agencies. And I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Maybe somebody here knows it. If not, I will track it down and post it in the community. But I can't remember how much it is, $1,000 or whatever. He's got a pack of all the legal stuff that you need. That being said, something I've always done throughout my career is go to who are the market leaders. So the HubSpots, the high levels, that type of thing. Look at their privacy policies, look at their terms of service, and essentially do a cut and replace, find and replace of their name and your name. It's a good way to start. I would then personally take that, put it into ChatGPT and say, review this and let me know how this should be updated for an agency that is serving small businesses in these ways, and see what ChatGPT gives to you. And then, good idea, once you've got that and you feel like it's pretty stinking solid, to have a lawyer take a look at it. Now, I can assure you that when you take it to a lawyer and have them take a look at it, they're going to come back with 1,500 changes. It doesn't matter. That's what lawyers do. Lawyers create problems to theoretically solve problems. That's their business. Okay. So then you're going to have to use your judgment as to how much you want to spend on that lawyer to have them wordsmith every detail and all that. That's up to you to decide. And I can't give you that advice. If you show this to 10 different lawyers, you're going to get 10 different versions. So, you have to use your judgment and your budget and all that to determine what the final outcome of all of that is. What I can tell you is there is no right privacy policy or terms of service. There is the one that you use. And if somebody wants to sue you, they're going to hire a lawyer that is going to find problems with that terms of service and that privacy policy to try to be as effective as possible in suing you, because that's what lawyers do. So there's nothing bulletproof. There's nothing that is the settled one version to use. You're going to have to use your judgment a little bit. And to some extent, in my opinion, don't let the legal tail wag the business dog. You know what I mean? Does Go High Level have traffic generation capability to generate leads on the Google platform, or do they have their own system? So they have ad managers now for Facebook and Google. But you still got to spend money on ads. Otherwise, the traffic generation capability would be the things that they are helping you do to show up better in organic results, get reviews, accurate citations, publish your blog, optimized website. All of those things are going to help you in organic. They are rolling out soon an SEO system as well. That will be a robust SEO system. So that will definitely help you as well. What advice does Mike Cooch now have to Mike Cooch pre-Kutenda and pre-Everon? Wow. That is an interesting question. That's a good one, AT. Let me just think about. I mean, I think a lot of those lessons I already share with you through my programs and in these calls, but just top of my head, I think a handful of things. One is to know really what your personal outcome is that you were looking for from building your business. Is your personal outcome to build something really big and sell it for as much money as possible? Is it to build something to take public? Is it to build something that gives you a nice, modest, comfortable income, but all the flexibility in the world to be able to travel and spend time with your family? Getting as clear as you possibly can on what you really want that outcome to look like for you, ignoring all the hysteria in the market about somebody got rich and bought a yacht, and ignoring all that as much as possible, and saying, what is it that's really important to me from this business? I think is perhaps the most important thing that you can spend time on. And the reasons why, if it's not obvious, the reasons why are that any business that you decide to pursue has a greater likelihood of certain outcomes and less likelihood of other outcomes than other businesses that you could decide to pursue, right? So, if you decide to start some incredibly innovative tech company, well, that has a higher chance of being bought for a ton of money or going public than if you start a restaurant. But it also has a much higher chance of just going broke, never providing any good income for you, never giving you any lifestyle because you're so maniacally busy trying to build it. So there's trade-offs, and every goal that you decide to pursue has a price. And understanding what that price is, and if you are really clearly willing to pay that price, and you can just put your head down and go, I'm paying the price, I'm doing it. That clarity is incredibly important. Right now, I know there are all kinds of opportunities that I can just clearly say no to without even having to spend a second on it, because I'm not willing to pay the price. I'm not willing right now to give up time with my kids. I only have a handful of years left where they're in the house with me. I'm not willing to do the things that are necessary to try and build some huge company. I want time with my kids. I want lifestyle. So I can very easily just go, nope. I also don't want anything that ties me down to one location. I know that. I like to travel a bunch. I want to be very flexible and nomadic. So if it's a business that I'm going to have to be in a physical location to run it, it's a no for me. So things like that, just getting super, super clear on that. I think the other advice that I would give that goes along with that is to really think through, is this something that you're going to enjoy doing for 10 years? That's the way I think it. 7 years is my actual number that I use, but somewhere in that time frame, 7 to 10 years. If you're going to start a business today, it is a very high likelihood that it's going to be at least 5 years before you get it to a point where you're like, yeah, you know what? I really got this under control. Things are going real well. I'm making good money. Operations are smooth and easy. I kind of got it all figured out. 5 years is probably a realistic time frame on the early side to be able to expect that you get to that point. 10 years is probably a realistic time frame between 7 and 10 to say, not only do you have all of that figured out and nailed down, but you've built the business to a point where it's valuable enough that you could sell it and want to sell it for enough money that it would change your life. That's probably not going to happen in a few years. That's probably not going to happen in 3 years, right? It's probably 7, 10 years, something like that. And so if you're going to start this business and build this business, is it something that you can see yourself doing for that long? Do you like the customers that you're working with enough? Do you like just the topic of what you're doing enough? Like, are you into marketing? Do you like marketing? Or are you into, whatever, pianos, if you're manufacturing pianos? I mean, whatever it is. Because if not, it's probably not going to work out for you that well. It's just, building a business is tough. And if you don't have something that you really can enjoy for that period of time, it's going to be hard to get through the dips. The dips are for real, right? So I think that that's another thing that I would say. And then the last thing that I would say, and I mentioned earlier on this call, I think always be on offense. Always be on offense. Always look to how can I grow and be better and be more competitive. Jeff Bezos, again, one of his core philosophies at Amazon was that it's day zero. It's always day zero, right? And so what he meant by that was that we're always having to prove ourselves every day in the market. We're not ahead. We're always, at that starting line. And we have to have that mindset, that hunger, that drive to always improve and always grow. It has to be just a constant, in our culture. I think that that's incredibly important because things can change quickly. Business is competitive. Somebody can come and try and steal your stuff from you. I don't mean steal like in an illegal way. I mean, just try and outcompete you in the marketplace and you're not really paying attention, not really innovating. Like, business is always better when you're trying to find a way to get another edge, to get a little bit ahead, to get a little bit better at what you're doing. And that's probably true of anything that's important in your life. I think those are things that come to mind. I mean, obviously there's all the normal stuff of, do content marketing and, all that. But I think in terms of actually the more important lessons, kind of the first principle stuff, I think those are some big ones. Okay. All right. It has been an hour and a half. It is time to wrap up. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on Office Hours. I hope that there was something helpful for you in here. And I hope that you have a fantastic start to the year. These next couple months include a lot of travel for me. So the Office Hours call schedule is going to be a little bit variable. We've got some Wednesday calls, Thursday calls, Friday calls, but I'm still trying to keep a pretty regular schedule of weekly calls throughout the next few months here. But it is a busy travel time for me, and a lot of that travel tends to happen on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that type of thing. So appreciate your flexibility and hope that you can make it to as many of the calls as possible, as would be helpful for you. Thank you to the new members of the community who are here on their first call. I appreciate you. And in between calls, again, the community is the spot to be able to join us and ask questions along the way so that we can help answer those questions in between these calls. And I hope to see you in there. Okay. Thank you so much, as always, for being a part of the community. Thank you for your business. Happy New Year. And we'll see you on a future call. Bye-bye.